Good afternoon, everyone. I am Willem Kraus from Knowledge Resources, and I'm going to quickly have an interview with Jackie Kennedy, who's the founder of LeadMe Academy. She's going to be one of the speakers at our upcoming Organisational Development Conference to be held on the 28th and 29th in Johannesburg, which will be in person as well as online, so people can register from anywhere in the world. So Jackie is going to talk at the conference on designing interventions for leadership to enhance employee wellness, to manage stress and prevent burnout for the OD practitioner. And so one or two things about Jackie. As I said, she's the founder and CEO of LeadMe Academy, an online leadership development and coaching platform. Amongst others, Jackie is also a qualified Neuroleadership Coach and an Organisational Development Consultant. She holds multiple qualifications in coaching and organisational psychology. Welcome, Jackie.
Welcome. Thank you very much, Willem. Great to be here.
Right, so I'm going to pose this question. You know, there's so much emphasis on sound mental health in organisations. Survey after survey shows that it is still deteriorating. What is your view on that? Why are we still battling so much with mental health in the workplace?
Sure. Okay, great question. Thank you for that. Well, firstly, I think there are so many variables, but in short, I would argue that people are struggling to comprehend and navigate the complexity or increasing complexity of the world, and that both the individual and the working world or organizations are equally struggling to respond appropriately. And so I think the pressure is rising on all sides. But if we just think about from a macro level, if we think about the definition of mental health, right, it's determined by a range of socioeconomic, biological and environmental factors. And if we just look at that and think about what's happened since 2022 and COVID, we are seeing studies come out now that are showing that since COVID, the individual has an increased sensitivity to stress. It's just that simple. And I think it was a case of that it brought about this idea that there were just so many uncertainties, right? The only certainty is that there are increased uncertainties. And it seems to be that people are struggling with the constant amount of change and the exponential level of it. And what we are seeing in organizations is that some organizations are playing lip service to this idea of mental health being important within companies. So they're saying that they value it and that it's important, but when it comes down to it, what they say and what they're doing, so the actual interventions that they are putting in place are pretty light touch. It's maybe something short, like a well-being session once every quarter or something like that, and that's obviously not sustainable. That is not how mental health or well-being works, right? What it's really about is looking at all these areas and understanding, well, what is it that we actually have to do in order to build the capacity on an ongoing basis to keep ourselves, both our well-being and mental health, in a certain state. And so we're seeing that in a lot of companies, instead of taking this stance and really blending it into the work that they're doing, there's an increased workload and stress. The organizational culture isn't really leading from the front, and I'll talk about that in a little bit more detail in a moment. But it's really this kind of idea that there's a bit of contradiction between what we say and what we believe and our expectations of our employees and what we're really doing. We're also seeing that there's different beliefs around from different generations of leadership within the workplace. Obviously, there is a lack of maybe access to resources and support, but I think what we've seen is that a lot of interventions have been short-term interventions, and those just don't focus on all areas. They're not being designed to change behavior and habit. And if you think about, in mental health and well-being, it's about a set of habits that actually lifelong habits that influence our mental mental health and well-being. So it's, working at relationships, it's making sure that we have the right financial habits in place. It's about productivity habits, about stress. It's about how we manage all of that on an ongoing basis. And it's actually how the individual and the team does it. And so it's really this idea of, are organizations building the capacity within the employees to be able to develop these coping skills on an ongoing and for a long-term basis? Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So what is your view on the role of leaders to enhance employee well-being and better mental health in organizations?
Yeah, so I have obviously, I truly believe that leadership starts from the top down, and what we see in a lot of companies is that it's almost something I was touching on just now, often an inconsistency between saying that we value mental health and well-being, and that we're not only leading with it and leading by example and demonstrating it within the organizational culture and the interventions we put in place, but the role there is at the top to start thinking about how we're actually leading in our day-to-day behavior, the kind of work pressure that we're pushing down, the goals and responsibilities, the organizational culture, what's important, looking at the connection for the individual between a sense of belonging, well-being, and purpose, how this connects back to the goals of the organization. What are the interventions? Are they just lip surface interventions, or are they really designed to change? Are leaders of organizations, taking it seriously? Are they being vulnerable? Are they being open? Are they creating psychological safety around it, safe spaces to engage? Are they demonstrating the right behaviors? And then also understanding the difference between the responsibility of the leader and the individual. And I really do think there's obviously a responsibility from a leadership perspective around the culture and the space and the goals and purpose and vision and all of that, but also to help the individual understand how they fit into that and the things that they need to do and can do, and to give them the services and support and direct them in the areas that they may need to be thinking about. Because obviously there's a range of areas that tap into mental health and well-being, which we don't have time to get into today, but that's really the crux of it.
Yes, thank you very much. And the role of OD departments?
Yeah, so I think obviously OD departments are instrumental in the design, right? In the organizational design of the business. They should be thinking about things like flexible work structures, what are the type of well-being programs that are being integrated, how are they influencing leadership and bringing them along? How is technology influencing the business, and how is it being utilized? And how is training and development opportunities being connected to that? How are they bringing everybody with them in this process? Are they creating adaptable structures for change? How are they using tools, both technology and spaces, for collaboration and to create the right environment for well-being, both online and in person, depending on the structure of the organization? Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Jackie. I'm really looking forward to your presentation at the conference, and to see you live there. Thank you for this afternoon's brief discussion around the topic that you're going to cover. Thanks a lot.
Thanks so much, Wilhelm. Looking forward to it. Thank you. Ciao.